Okay, so, um, today's just gonna be like a more direct talking directly just to the camera while I play.
Hello!
But today we're gonna be discussing the pros and cons of Wizard 101. Heads up, this might be like a little longer of a video. But yeah, so the reason I'm discussing this today is just because with the release of the recent Switch variation of Wizard 101, and just there's been a recent influx. So a lot of people might be asking, like, should I get back into Wizard 101? Or like,
Good.
if they've
Well,
never heard of it,
after all, this could
should I
be
get into
total
Wizard 101?
apostasy.
So I'm just gonna be going down
Me,
the pros and
a
cons
novice, a
of
wizard.
everything, along with
Exactly.
just
I could
the
use
recent
the
moves
combat
that
break. Let's
AI has been
play.
doing to the game. Um, so one of the pros that brought me back is just the nostalgia. I played this game when I was like 6. It's still going really strong. So if you just feel like you just want to itch to that nostalgia, I highly recommend you come back just to see it. There's still is a paywall, unfortunately, which is the first con of just a monthly subscription. And then if you don't pay that monthly subscription, it is roughly $300 if you want to play the entire game. Plus more, because they're still adding to the game very constantly. Overall, it's also just a really good time killer. Like, I spent 3 months maxing out my storm and my death. It's just something good to do if you just have time to kill. And then, some of the dungeons are like really fun. I think doing Castle Darkmoor for the first time was an experience I think everyone should do. It's fun just eating the cheats and then just grinding out the gear for the first time. That's because that's like your main big upgrade. The game has really fast progression. Like, you're just going to go from level 0 to level 30, farm Olympus, level 30 to 60, you're going to get Waterworks, 60 to 100, you're getting Darkmoor gear, or, like, there's options at level 100, you can get more Gans. You have Aphrodite. And then level 100, you can either choose between, like, 150 and 160, you have Aeon, or, why am I blanking? Whatever the Novice and Lemuria gear is. And then after that, I think people still farm 170. Don't quote me on that. But with the addition of Darkmoor, I don't see why they would. They could just go to 180 and then farm the best gear in the game currently, as of me recording this video. Most of the content can be soloed. Some of it a little more difficult than others, especially depending on school. Like, Fire compared to Death is not going to be anywhere close to the same difficulty. Just Death compared to anything isn't going to be close to the same difficulty. Technically, you can get the best gear in the game without spending a single cent. However, you do have to farm raids, which may not be for everyone, as it's one of the most difficult things in the entire game. And it's supposed to be, because it's supposed to be late game, end game content that you need, like, you need to be coordinated for.
If you are to...
And then, another pro is just that I think I really like the way all the spells match to their schools, their themes. I think the only school that doesn't really like stick to their theme is Balance, because like they're just kind of all over the place. Did my game just break? I was talking to Cyrus. Okay. But yeah, I feel like Balance, they don't really have a theme. They're just kind of everywhere. Oh, my game broke. Oh, my game broke. Hold on, let me see if I can lock back in. But yeah, I think once the spells start leaning, like, going towards, like, specific world spells, is also really interesting because they still match the world around to the school theme. Next is constant development. This KI is constantly pushing out updates. Like even yesterday, they announced like one of their biggest updates coming in February about spellament changes. Whether it's good or bad, I haven't really read into it yet. I might make a video on it depending on when I read into it. And then just the constant growth of the community with the consistent developments. Like they push a new world roughly every like 2 to 3 years, which is really good pace for how like niche this game is. And then with the release of the console variants like Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, I don't know if there's Xbox, but just console release. The community has gotten bigger. Their Discord, I know, has significantly grown. And then you're also just encouraged to explore the map. With cantrips being everywhere, reagents being scattered everywhere, and then just some neat little Easter eggs, such or just like the Zeke quest. They're like they kind of force you to explore the world unless you use like a guide. I try to stay away unless it's like one of the really tedious ones where it's like stuffed into a dungeon. And then I just like the concept of once you have one max, maxing out another character is really easy just because you can send the gear from your shared bank. You can share stuff from your shared bank into your lower characters, and then like if you're farming for your main, like your first max, and say you hit another school, you can just send it and then level up another character like I'm doing right now. I'm leveling up a myth. I think that's most of my pros. No, let's talk about the cons, because there's definitely a few cons. Once again, going back to that monthly subscription, it's rough, $10, and then family plan. If you have 2 accounts or like you and your friend are playing, it's like 12 to 14 combined together. So it's like technically like 7 or 6 for both of you. Going back, I guess this kind of goes hand in hand with the fun dungeons. Some of the grinds are extremely tedious. Like me maxing out my storm when 170 was the max, it took me roughly like 2 weeks worth. Just because the pity system in this game, and then just how annoying it is to find teammates that know what they're doing and everything. It's a whole farm, and then there's like specific strategies for every fight, and if you're not doing like the specific strategy, it gets really tedious and annoying to do. Next is the side activities. They are so like, strenuous. Pet farming, oh man, I can go on and on for like 30 minutes about pet farming, but that takes forever to actually be able to get what you want.
It's 000003.
There we go. Yeah, just pet training all together, and then fishing and gardening shouldn't take energy. Yeah, just side activity shouldn't. I think pet farming should, just then like you have a way to stop players from like speed running. But yeah, they just need to somehow like fix the energy management, or don't make fishing and gardening take energy. They're already expensive enough, and then just being locked behind like a gimmick is so unnecessary. Next is the lack of class identities. Well, I guess it's just the repetition of this game. You don't have to play this way, but it is very annoying when, you know, why would I play things such as like an ice or a balance, if the entire point of the entire system of the game, at least PvE wise, is blade hit. So I might as well just play like a DPS hitter, and then just, you know, instead of having to waste like an extra turn blading myself, I could just hit and then have it over with. Next is the really high PvP barrier to entry. To even like think about PvP, you have to farm gear, you have to farm spell elements, you have to buy TCs. You just have to optimize yourself so much for like so little of upsides. And then technically you can use it inside PvE when you're questing, like the same set, but it's so unoptimal because you're losing so much damage, and there's no point in dropping damage for like a few resists in PvE. But PvP, it's absolutely necessary because there's hard caps. So if they just lowered the PvP barrier, they would honestly be able to get so many more PvP players. And then next, just going back, while the community is growing, it can be extremely toxic. I mean, like, extremely toxic. If you're not running, like, an optimal 7-pit deck, people will just start flaming you for no reason, just because you want to play the game that you want to play. Or, yeah, you want to play the game the way that you want to play it, rather than being optimal and AoEing the first round. Next is just packs in general. I understand they didn't make money, but they need to put like a pity system somewhere inside pack rather than just having it. If it drops, it drops. Like, they need to, like, if you spend a certain amount on a pack, you should get what you want, especially mounts. Yeah, let's go to the most recent pack, the Scalamari. It's a 1 in 100. Okay, that's not bad. That's not a big drop rate, actually, compared to, like, the rest. But, like, here, like, the Marley Motorist. 1 in 301. And I don't think that's even as bad as, say... Where's the Gulcher? Yeah, the Gulcher's hard pack? What's that? Like, 1 in 350? For 3% damage on a specific school? Specific! You can even choose your school that you want. It's based on whatever they want to drop. And then, talking about late game. There is so little to do once you're max. Then, once you're max, like, you can PvP, you can help lower level players, which is what I do most of the time. Like, you'll see me, if you ever see me on Natalie Spartan Night, like, I'll just be sitting around in the comments helping people. Or, like, I'll be questing another wizard like I am right now. Like, I just had to fully restart the game just because I'm out of things to do on my max. Which I understand is like an MMORPG kind of thing, but, like, usually MMOs, they have extra stuff for late game content. Like, in a way, you're kind of being punished for maxing out. And then, like, the next best thing, like, if you're fully out of things to do on a max and you don't want to start a new character, the next best thing I can think of, which is what most YouTubers will do at least, is just start a Nuzlocke. You know, you die equals delete challenge, like Awesome the Sauce is doing. It's just, there's so little variety that you can do, but I guess that depends on how you want to play the game. If you want to play the game again, or just keep doing whatever you're doing, yeah, go for it. Like Decathlon and Beast Moons, yeah, they're fun. But there's, once again, eventually you hit a cap on those as well. Like, once you hit a level 5 deck inside Decathlon, you're basically set for every Decathlon coming up. And then, coming up on that, it's just questing in general. It's so tedious. You're doing the exact same thing over and over again. Like, you get like 3 quests in a row where you get to kill like small little minions like I'm doing right now. And then a quest after that, you have to go pick something up off the street. and then kill one more minion, fight a boss, and then that streak's done, and then do it all over again.
The stale cold smell of morning.
Like, it gets better late game, such as, like, Darkmoor. You have to use cantrips and stuff, which I think is a really unique mechanic, and that made me like Darkmoor a lot more, just because I'm not constantly, oh, I have to go fight this, and then go collect something. Instead, it's, let me kill this, let me put a cantrip, let me do a puzzle, and then let me go fight the boss. Which just that little switch up, which I don't know if that points out the problem even more, but even that small of a switch up made the game feel so much more like refreshing to play. Coming up on that is the mechanic of cheats. Cheats is a good mechanic to keep the game like difficult and changing. Like, you can't just blade AoE every boss fight. It's majority, but it's not every, just because some have like a cheat for blades. But it's also, cheats should not require you to go to the wiki page of the boss. Especially if a world just comes out, the wiki isn't even like, literally there will be like 2 lines. It says this boss is currently not recorded or something, and you just have to go in blind. Which, yeah, I understand some people really like to do, but you should not be relying on a wiki that's fan-made, by the way, to play the game. If you want to play, like, if you want to speed up the process. There should be, like, an in-game kind of concept where you're able to just search up, like, a boss's name, see the cheats in-game, and then just move on. Instead, what you have to do, like, if you don't have a second monitor, you're basically being punished, because you constantly have to be reading the cheats as well as you're fighting. So I think that there should just be a, like, in-game window. Like, say, like, pop, like, underneath, like, your friends list, they just had, like, a search bar. And then you can just search up a boss. And then it'll just list all the cheats. And then Nexus chat filter, I understand, like, this is a kid's game, so, like, the chat filter kind of has to be strict. But at the same time, like, let us say numbers. We can't say numbers. And it's horrible. Like, I'm pretty sure if I try typing in 8, yeah. Like, if someone doesn't have uncan chat, or can chat, whichever one, they can't see that. They'll just see a ... In some fights, you need it. Like, the Golden Key boss inside Celestia. You need to bring specific amount of, like, pip hits. And to plan it, you need to say, like, what number of pips you're bringing. But if someone doesn't have the chat or can't see numbers, then how are you going to do the fight with them? So I think it just needs a better system altogether. And then coming up on console, they're a whole year behind on updates, which is kind of crazy. I understand, like, most players still need time to catch up to even hit max. So yeah, it's not too big of a problem. But why are you re-releasing a game that's a whole year behind on updates? And then actually going back on horrible chat filters, there's also just some of the bans that they do is crazy. Like, you say one wrong thing by accident, like, I know some people have slipped up. Like, I've been on, like, the subreddit in the Discord for this game. People have said the most random things by accident, and then they get banned for, like, 10 years. They get a 10-year ban, and half the time they can't even, like, they can't get an unban, or if anything, it's really difficult. And then recalling on gifting is another huge problem. Which is why I never take gifts from anyone. I always have it turned off. Because if you don't know, inside this game, if you get gifted anything, and they, like, do a refund on it, your account's gone. Permanently banned. All your progress you've done, everything you've spent on this game, washed away. And the only way you can do it back is by paying KI back, but it has to be through a checking or a check in the mail. They need the physical check in order to unban you, and you need to ship it and everything. It's they need to find like a better system for that. But yeah, it's just so unpunishing because like one bad person inside the community turns off like 100 players because they just lost their account because one person decided to refund everything. And then my final con is the servers will go down at the most random times. Like, yeah, they have scheduled updates, but okay, speaking of updates, for any updates they do and like servers going down, they announce it through their Discord rather than announcing it in game. They don't have a way to announce it, or like they do, but they give you like a 2-hour bubble. But most of their announcements are through their Discord, so you have to go through a third-party app to get updates about anything. Which I think they need a way to like have like a announcement system in game, so it's easier for people to see what's happening and like when updates are happening. Because servers can randomly go down for hours. Usually, I think their maintenance are like 5 hours, and then like world updates are even longer. So people might not even know they're not on their Discord. They'll randomly get like a 2-hour heads up, and then that's all. And then, speaking of servers randomly going down, there are times where updates will completely crash the game. Like the release of the first console, just because the console took up all their server resources, people couldn't play the game. Like, imagine you just had like a long day of work, you just want to play your game. Nope. You have to sit in like a 1,000 people queue, all sitting there, just wanting to play a game for the night. And then things like Portal Apparels literally broke the game. Like I remember I logged in, I literally clicked the card, got here for 30 minutes because I was in the middle of a boss fight. It never came out. I had to relog, or I think the game crashed actually. And I just lost all my progress for that fight. All because Portal Apparels update just destroyed the game. And I had to restart a fight and sat here for 30 minutes. However, I did hear that they're bringing back Portal Apparel. Hopefully this time it works. But we'll see. I'm not feeling very hopeful. But yeah, overall, I think those are all my pros and cons. If you want to experience the nostalgia, I highly recommend you come back to this game. That's what I've been doing. I even became a content creator for it, which is why you're watching this video. And there's a lot of pros. I think KI is slowly heading in the right direction. I think one of the main things they can do better is just listening to the community. They barely take any of our feedback. Like, such as like the shadow changes that they recently did. No one asked for that. They made it stupid hard to get. And it's just not beneficial to anyone. And then say like they do have a few good updates. Good on them. Like, yeah. Darkmoor, it was a really good update. And then sometimes with the really good updates, there's really bad ones, such as like the Outsider Relic changes that they did. Absolutely screwed anyone over who spent hours upon hours farming their, like, I don't remember what the region is called, but like the green goo on the floor. They spent hours farming that, only for it to not matter anymore, because KI just redid the whole thing and then made it to them. You only need to find the bosses instead of walking around for hours now. But they doubled the price. They could have just kept the same price, but they doubled it and made it extremely more tedious to do the boss fights now. So overall, I think, yeah, I think it's worth checking out, but I think there can definitely be some improvements.